The Hyrox off-season is also known as your general prep phase. In this video, we're going to go through when you do it, why you should do it, what's involved with it, what we're doing, so you know exactly what you should be doing. The Hyrox off-season is a bit different to other sports because people will call it an off-season, but it can be such a long time. It's the time when in between races. So now, if you're in the UK, say, there isn't another race now until October. So you've now got, while we're recording this in May, June, July, August, September, you've got 6 months of an off-season. The thing is with a lot of other sports, you have an off-season, but when you start the season, you then play games each week. So if it was football or any other sport like that, you play a game each week. Whereas with Hyrox, you might do a Hyrox event, and then you then don't do one for another 3 months. It is an off-season now, but really it's your general prep phase. And what the general prep phase is any part of your training that isn't the specific prep phase. The specific prep phase is the exact 8 weeks before your race, where you're going to bring all together all the stuff you do in the general prep to make it specific to Hyrox. So the general prep, the things that you can include are anything that's going to help you develop as an athlete and help you improve on your Hyrox time. And because Hyrox isn't really a technical sport, apart from having to hit the wall ball target, you can really break everything down. So we'll give you an example of what we're doing with our training at the moment. So we're doing the Hyrox Engine Builder Programme. So what does that entail?
So that's more running and slower, steadier stuff as the development. And then as the stimulation, that's the faster, shorter sessions. So you're actually going short and fast at some points of it. And then mostly like your 90-minute run on a Saturday. And then you still do your Hyrox moves within it. So it's not like coming away from that.
There's not specific deadlifts and squats, but there's Hyrox comp weight stuff.
Yeah.
So what you're looking for in the general prep phase, the idea is we're doing 8-week blocks and really focus on one main thing to develop. So the main thing that you're going to develop from doing the Hyrox Engine Builder Programme is developing your aerobic base. So what that means is you're going to develop like if you've got a triangle, your aerobic base is the bit at the bottom, everything else is built above for this. So it's not as much doing all your high intense stuff at the top, you're working more that developing that base. So what that's going to entail is more volume of your training is going to be aimed at that. It doesn't mean all of your training is aimed at that. And the whole point of any of these programs is you put in enough volume to develop what you really want to develop. So in this case, aerobic base. So you're going to do some sessions where they're longer, slower, heart rates lower. So you can keep it going for longer. If you're doing all high energy stuff, you're going to have breaks, you're going to have to rest. That's going to work something different to doing your slower, steadier stuff. So the most important thing is you have enough volume of what you want to develop and you know what you're trying to develop. So the other thing to think about and how to plan your training is to work back from your actual event. So if you know your next event is 6 months away, plan your training back from that. So if you then go, okay, how many 8-week blocks have you got? So if you then worked out and you go, okay, we've got 3 or 4 blocks, you can then go, one of those blocks is a specific prep. And then 2 of the blocks you can then go will be engine builder and run speed developer, or if your priority is strength, Hyrox strong, based on what it is you really need to develop. So really it's priority 1, then priority 2, and so work it all back so you're at your best for your Hyrox race. And that is really what the Hyrox off season is. And if you then do a race in October and your next race isn't then till 4 months later, you're basically into another off season. So you then go back into your general prep phase and start again.
A lot of people will be after a Hyrox in May and then they haven't got until October, will be just taking it easy, won't they? But you've got to try not to do that for too long. You need to keep something going. You need to plan. And this is where we've probably struggled with what our next moves are. Because it does feel like that. I know you're looking at me puzzled as if like...
Yeah, the plans we're doing the Hyrox Engine Builder Programme.
Yeah, it is. But I'm struggling with it, if I'm really honest, because you've gone such a high with doing the event, then you're left a bit like, what do I do now then? Because we've got nothing at the end of it.
Yeah, that's why you should, within your training, have things that you're looking to develop and be able to see the progress with it, rather than just wait until your next Hyrox race and going, are we any quicker after 6 months of doing something?
Yeah.
So one way you can do it is if you're doing, a lot of the runs are longer runs, you might do a 90-minute run and record what distance you can cover in the 90 minutes.
Yeah, you need to
and then see what you can do.
stuff,
Have something where you can can see your progress on what you're doing.
Or get a run in, as in like an event. Get some events in. Get a 5K event in. Get that feeling of an event, because that nerve-wracking. Get in that environment still. Don't like wait until October. I feel like, because last year before October in August, I did a half marathon. You were injured, so you didn't do that, but I did a half marathon, because then you don't let go of that event environment, because that's the bit that's
so it's good to have things to aim at along the way rather than just having Hyrox races. There's also so many more fitness racing events happening now, so it's get involved in some of the other things as well and plan them in. And then base your training on what you're trying to develop. So we might do 8 weeks of engine builder,
and then what?
And then you could then do 8 weeks of it's developing whatever you feel you need to develop most. So if you want to get stronger, you'd have a block of doing strength training. If you wanted to get faster, you might have a block of doing some more training at that higher level. But when you're training at that higher level, doing more anaerobic runs or interval runs, you still only do them a couple of times a week. Then you're going to have that lower level training in as well. So it's having enough volume of it still to develop it, but not too much volume that you're then going to end up just getting injured from what you're doing. So our goals after doing this one, it's looking at our Hyrox times, going, what is it we really need to develop? Do we need to be stronger for the sleds and for the wall balls? Do we need to develop our endurance?
Well, do we then?
Yeah, of course we do.
We need to get better.
But again, when you're doing doubles, it's so different, because you're having so much rest. When you're doing the wall balls, if you're doing an individual wall balls and you can't do 100 all in one go, and you're stopping after every 10 and then resting for 10 seconds, that adds up to a lot of time when the ball's not moving. Yes. If you're doing doubles, the ball rarely stops.
No, I know, but you say that, but you just, as a solo, you won't go as fast as you. Solo is harder in a different way to a doubles is hard. Yeah,
what I'm saying is you need more endurance to be able to do 100 wall balls compared to doing 100 where you really only do 50. And you have rest in between while the other person's doing them.
Maybe that's what our challenge is next then.
So it's a different way of training. That's why you need to train for your event.
Yeah.
And train for what you want to develop and what you need to get better at.
So how do we get better at doing 100 wall balls, for example? There's loads of people.
Well, then you start working on your endurance. So if you can't do 100 bodyweight squats, you're never going to do 100 wall balls. Just ain't going to happen. So you can start off going, right, I need to build up to be able to do 100 bodyweight squats. You can then go, right, okay, I need to first build up so I can do 4 sets of 25, then maybe 4 sets of 30 doing body weight. Then you might then go, okay, let's do a barbell thruster or a dumbbell thruster where you hold 3 kilo dumbbells, squat down and press up. Can you then do 4 sets of 25 of them?
I think this is your next plan coming out. the road to 100 wall balls, but do it as a short plan. Yeah,
could do that.
But comment below if you want that coming out.
You'd then work on doing your more endurance side of stuff. It doesn't mean you then don't do any other strength stuff.
No.
It's balancing everything out to make sure that you're a complete athlete at what you're doing. And you don't take your foot off the gas with everything. You just know, as I say, and I keep saying it, you can only really develop one thing at a time unless you're a complete beginner, where everything will just get better at first because you're a complete beginner. Or if you're a professional athlete, where you've got endless hours to train, then you can do a lot of zone 2 training, like that aerobic base part, and include more of other stuff as well. But you still have to be able to recover it from it all, and you still have to be able to improve from it all.
Get physio.
Yeah, you have to take time and look after your body as well, and make sure that you can recover from everything you're doing.
You got to make sure you get your sleep in. Well, do you know what I mean? It's a lot.
Everything to recover with it. But so with the off season, just break your training up into 8-week blocks. Have focuses for each of those 8-week blocks, and really know what it is you're trying to develop it, then move on to the next block.
There's always something, and it's not easy, is it? But it's given us something to work towards, which we've never had with our training before.
That's what Hyrox is about as well. Most people are doing Hyrox aren't there thinking, I'm going to win the world championships.
We are.
Most people are doing it knowing you've given yourself something different to train for, and you can see yourself getting better and better. And that's why it's really important to go, right, you don't need to do all Hyrox specific stuff in the off season. Yeah. I say, because it's not technical. You can go just to doing, you don't even have to touch a wall ball. You wouldn't for a long time. You just work on your squats, leg strength, posterior chain strength, other things like that. Then when you go back to your wall balls, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's made a big difference to what I'm doing, rather than just going wall balls, wall balls, wall balls.
Just to give you a recap, if you're new to these videos, our best time is 1 hour and 10. And I reckon deep down, we want 1 hour and 5, don't we, at some point?
it's like anything. As soon as you hit one goal, you're then looking to get the next goal. So if we got an hour and 7 on the next one, we then want an hour and 5. If we've got an hour and 5, we then want an hour and 3. Training when broken down properly is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just making sure you're improving on what you want to improve on,
Yeah.
and you're enjoying it. You have to make sure sometimes just even if you're following a plan, some days it's good to go, right, okay, I feel like doing this, or I want to do this. It's a plan's a guide. It's not you have to do this today, that today, that today.
What
exactly.
am I like?
Yeah, you're terrible for it. You have to do exactly what the plan is.
I stick to the mother effing plan. I'm really like, I get a bit like, what's the word? Not nervy. I just don't like coming away from the plan.
No, because you have to have that structure.
Once I've seen it.
But really, when you're doing any phase of training, as long as you're doing the development days, which are the main days you're wanting to develop, the other days is to maintain everything. So it doesn't do you any harm in changing some of those maintenance days where you go, right, okay, I'm not going to do a such and such a circuit. I'm going to do a run. I'm going to do an anaerobic threshold run. I'm going to do some interval runs. I'm going to get out and go on the track and do some track work or some hill work. You can mix it up. You can make it work.
You'll learn your own ways once you get used to how training works. Obviously, anyone that's watching our videos, I'm assuming want to get better, and I'm assuming they're doing a lot of research around what others are doing as well. So don't be afraid to come up with your own plan for a day.
Yeah, definitely. We do the plans, but I said they're very much guides. And then the more you do them, the more you might go, okay, I'm going to do the specific prep plan, but actually I'm going to change up a couple of days because I want to do a little bit more weights. I want to do a little bit more of that. They're guides, and with everything that I put together, it's really, I'm trying to help people plan their own training. And then what I put out there is just so people can go, okay, I can do this, or okay, I know enough now to then I can change this up a bit or change that up a bit. That's the plan of everything that I'm doing and what we're doing. So I hope you found this video interesting, and we'll see you very soon on the next one.